Very good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Valley for this obscenely early kick-off here in the gap between Christmas and New Year as we take on Wycombe Wanderers and high-flying Wycombe Wanderers at that. Alongside me, soon to be Stevie Brown, but in the meantime, because Steve's got stuff to do pitchside, it'll be Greg Stubley. Hi, Greg, you all right?
Hello, my friend.
Yeah, you good?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, good. Feels like only 2 days ago we were with each other.
Yes. Yeah, there's nothing to talk about now. We covered it all, didn't we? Covered it all Boxing Day. So this is going to be a quick segment. No, glad you're well. Good to have you alongside us, obviously. And thank you all for watching and listening. Now, it's been a successful year for Chris Lock's under-21s who took on Swansea City earlier this month. Let's take a look how they got on. So there you go. That was the impressive victory over Swansea City at the Sparrows Lane training ground on the 20th of December, just for Christmas, and it capped a fine start to the season for the under-21s. Currently second in the table, I think. Certainly just before that game, I didn't actually look at the table afterwards, but they've been flying high, Chris Lock's side, and that 3-1 victory. I mean, Ibrahim Fuller with a brace, following on from a quite spectacular effort at Prince's Park against Birmingham City, Greg, and there's some, as we've seen in previous years, there's some talent coming through the ranks here at Charlton, and it's not something that we should be surprised about necessarily.
No, and it's worth noting that the current under-21s are youthful under-21s because of the amount of injuries that we've actually got, and players have actually been part of our first team as well. So it's quite a rare case that your under-21 side is actually mostly made up of under-19s, let's say, and performing at levels we've not seen over the previous 12 months. So I think we've got very good talented youngsters coming through, as is always the case, but there's a couple in particular. I don't like picking out one or two because it's a bit lazy of me. I've not been watching as many games as you have in the under-21s, but players have caught my eye. Ibrahim Fuller, who I saw at 16 and thought he was really, really impressive, seems to have grown a little bit more, and he's got a little bit more technical as he's grown as well. And I spoke to Jason Pearce about him last year, and he had a lot of good things to say. And then the other two are probably a bit more kind of every Charlton fan will know a little bit, or most Charlton fans will know a little bit about them, is Kai Enslin, who has really developed. You know, he's become a bit more of an attacking midfielder, where he was playing left wing back and sort of centre midfield, and he seems to have developed into a bit more of a almost like a number 10 stroke playing further upfield. So he's had a really good bit of development and has had a taste of the first team as well. And then elsewhere, you've got the likes of Keane Dixon, who's obviously mixed in and out with the first team. Players like Ollie Hobden, who's been at the club for a while, Toby Bauer. I mean, again, as is always the case for our 21s, is how can they get minutes in our first team? And it will happen. It will come. There'll be injuries. There'll be, areas where we'll be a little bit light and we'll need a little bit of cover. We have a lot of depth actually this year in certain positions. Whether you think that's good enough depth is another debate, but we do have depth in terms of senior players, so it has been a little bit more difficult. But as we saw with Corey Anderson and Daniel Kanu last year, that they were involved in the first team before that, but they were able to get more and more minutes, and even now they're still getting more and more minutes. So it's a good opportunity for our youngsters to make that next step. Well,
when you consider the players that weren't there, the likes of Josh Langarettabura was in and around the first team squad, so he wasn't playing. Mika and Bick, who was injured. You got Pat Casey, who's injured. You've got 2 or 3 others that would comfortably be in that squad that you saw against Swansea City, but just coming back from injury. So it's a side that has depth, definitely has depth, and a talented depth at that. So it bodes well for the future of Charlton, which is something that doesn't come as a surprise to anyone. Now, look, it was back-to-back wins for the Addicts on Boxing Day. Let's have a look at the highlights of that Cambridge United victory, and maybe not as convincing. Clearly not as convincing as the Northampton victory, but back-to-back victories is still vitally important, Greg, and it'll hopefully keep the momentum coming into what today is a tough game. We know that against a Wycombe side that's doing very well indeed. So a victory which important for many reasons.
Yeah, the one thing you notice from Northampton and Cambridge is the quick starts, which has not been our thing this season at all. I mean, going into Northampton, I think we'd only scored in the first half twice all season in the league. So, suddenly to score 5 goals in the first half over our last 2 games is a massive difference, and you can just sense it around the valley as well. When we've got that early goal, it just settles people down, the fans down, it gives a little bit of atmosphere. And we weren't brilliant Boxing Day. I thought we were professional enough, though. I don't think Cambridge, bar 10 minutes in the second half where Cambridge scored and then hit the post, I didn't think they caused us too many problems, and I actually thought they made a mistake when they took off Stokes, who I actually thought we were struggling to really pick up. And they took Stokes off, who I found that was their most creative player, helped set up the ball for Bennett, who then crossed it in for Kachunga to get the goal back. And I just felt that the game kind of was just petering out to a Charlton win. I never really felt threatened, and I think that's a good thing. This time last year that wasn't the case. So there is improvement still to be had, but there is improvement seen as well. So look, we need to carry on this good run of form. We're going to have a completely different test today against a side that's really confident, in form, has players that have been scoring goals, and they have made changes coming into today as well, which is interesting. So they might have a bit of fresh legs about them. So Charlton are going to need the crowd behind them, and Charlton fans will be expecting the side to really give it their all. And we've done well against sides that have been good in this league. Birmingham was one of our best performances of the season. Bolton, we played well. So we shouldn't be threatened by the fact that we're playing Wycombe and not playing Cambridge, who are in the relegation zone. But we want to come away with today with a positive result.
Yeah, I mean, we've turned up against the so-called better sides in the division. And I'm sure Nathan Jones will be expecting and hoping that we do the same thing again today. And I think it's fair that teams that maybe come at us a little bit more open, give us an opportunity to not counter-attack. That's not fair, but certainly give us the opportunity to play a style of football we quite like. So it promises to be a decent game this afternoon, and we'll get more onto that a little bit later on, of course. But that, I mean, you mentioned the fast start. I mean, you can't get much faster. I mean, there were discussions about the quickest goal Charlton have ever scored, and I was actually at the game when Jim Melrose scored against West Ham.
Were you there in time?
I was not only there, I was there in the home end.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I know, yeah. That's a story for another day. And probably after the watershed as well. Yeah, that was a scary a couple of hours, I've got to tell you. But, I was in the West Ham end when he scored that goal after 9 seconds and trying to keep my hands in my
pockets.
Correct me,
Tom, was that when you were based at Upton Park ourselves?
Yeah. No, actually, it's before. No, hold on.
Really
now you're asking. Yeah, Jim Mulroy. No, actually, Jim Mulroy. Yeah, probably it had to be. Yeah, no, it had to be. While we were sharing the ground. So, or was it just after? Oh, do you know, I'm going to check that.
I mean, you barely know what you've had for breakfast at times, so I feel a bit harsh testing that live on air.
Throwing that at me. Do you know, it's a good question. Did we play West Ham? We didn't play.
Because was you in the home end in the Charlton end and just didn't
No. I knew you were getting to something. No, I think it might have been after.
All these people celebrating around me.
I think it might have been either just after or just before, but I will check because it doesn't ring a bell that we were sharing at the same time. I don't have that memory because I was only there because most of my friends were all West Ham fans that I was travelling with, and we knew that they'd keep the Charlton in afterwards, and we all were destined to go to London for a beer. So I sacrificed being at the Charlton end for the sake of a pint. No change there then.
Well, Jim Melrose was played 85 to 87, so that would have been just before Upton Park.
Just before. Yeah, that makes more sense. I think we were at Selhurst. I'm convinced of it now. We've digressed slightly. I apologise because somebody who really enjoyed that Cambridge game was Miles Lieber, who netted his second goal in as many games on that Boxing Day fixture, and he spoke with Charlton TV after the game.
Miles, back-to-back wins and back-to-back goals for yourself. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's good to be back amongst the goals in the league. Obviously, I had I think a month and a bit without scoring in the league, and that's what my main focus has been on. And now I've got it. I just want to keep getting more.
We scored within 36 seconds today, and it was your assist for Tyrese Campbell. Talk us through it.
Yeah, to be fair, I know TC's got the pace of he's the quickest. So I just thought he'll probably spin off of this. So then I just spun it in behind, and there he was, and he done what he does best. Yeah.
2 league goals in 2 for you now as well. How much did you enjoy today?
Yeah, it was good. Especially there's nothing better than starting quick and getting that early goal. It shows the gaffer told us we wanted to start on the front foot, and that's exactly what we did. And when you get that first goal, it just makes you want to push on for the whole match and get more and more.
And 2 assists for Tyrese in the last 2 as well. How much are you enjoying that partnership with someone that you obviously know very well?
Yeah, obviously me and TC know each other well. Went to school together, even lived together. So it's just playing up there with your friend, and you know each other, you know what works best for each other. And it's working. I've got an assist for him, he's flying, and I'm getting my goals as well, so nothing more I can ask for.
And some nice celebrations between the 2 of you as well.
Yeah. Picked that up, and I remember last season we did that, but I got injured, but yeah, now we're doing it again.
And for you personally now, back-to-back league goals, do you feel you're starting to get back to where you want to be?
Yeah, I feel like whenever I get a goal in something, I seem to go on a little roll, and it's happened again, it happened in some of the cups, I think last month, and then now it's happening in the league, so I just literally hope I can just keep going on and scoring more and more and more.
And a real platform to build on now ahead of Sunday. It'd be nice to obviously end the calendar year with another victory, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, massively. We're looking to just keep the roll going, keep the momentum going, and just attack with all we've got.
Thank you very much, mate.
There you are, Miles Lieber chatting to Charlton TV, and Greg is, we missed Miles when he was injured, clearly, and now he's back. I mean, it does seem a little harsh to put quite such a responsibility on such young shoulders, but he's sort of brought that on himself a little bit, hasn't he?
You're right on both points, Tel. We forget how young he actually is, and it's only his 3rd senior season in football. And, the fact he has come back off of an incredibly long injury and a painful, unique injury with his hamstring as well. And we expected him to be the best player in the division and the best striker in the division. And reality is that's incredibly rare for that to happen. So it has taken him a bit longer to really get going, get consistent with minutes. And this is his 3rd consecutive start in a week, which is good for him. And it'll give him a bit of confidence. But also the goals are happening now. The performances are happening, and that makes such a difference. You'd have thought about not scoring in the league so far this year. Younger players and certainly the generation below me care about stats a lot than probably the generation before, where it's all about wins and performances. Now they like looking at stats and seeing how many goals they got. Teams like looking at the amount of goals, and Miles will be aware that there are going to be clubs interested in him. It's nature. He's a young striker who's really tall, who's yet to find his true potential, and it's quite exciting for a club that's potentially in the Premier League or Championship looking at that, thinking if he can stay fit, we've got a hell of an asset that we can try and buy. And Miles will be aware of that attention, so he's got a lot to deal with, the Lieber name as well. And he's mature for his age. He's a good kid. He's got clearly good parents that we know about as well, to help guide him through this period, and hopefully for Charlton's sake he can develop even further and become one of the best strikers in this division, and help Charlton towards a maybe a playoff spot or long-term promotion.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite clear when he came back from injury that he was ring rusty. I think that's normal and to be expected. But last couple of games, he just seems to be getting back to the Miles Lieben that we saw on fire at the beginning of the season and last. So it bodes well for Charlton and, of course, for Miles Lieben himself, who I'm sure wants to get as far in the game as he possibly can, and let's hope that's with Charlton. There's a pedigree to the name, we all know that, and so it's a double amount of weight on his shoulders, I suppose. But he's handling it superbly well, Miles, and a lovely boy, by the way. He's a really nice guy to chat to, and as that came across in the interview. Well, we're close to kick-off, but we are going to do a little discussion also about Ex-Players Association. There's going to be a presentation very shortly, so and that's the reason Mr. Steve Brown isn't here. He's going to be pitch-side very well. He's already pitch-side, but there's going to be
He's sitting down, would you believe?
Is he? Oh, it's disgraceful, isn't it? But I can tell you that there are a considerable number of legends down there pitch-side. We're spotting Alan Kirbishley, Keith Peacock is there. Slightly lesser-known legends like Steve Brown. He's down there. And you've got Sutherland's down there as well, Steve Sutherland. So there's a presentation about that, and we'll cover that as and when it takes place, which will be very shortly. And just briefly, you had a little chat with Brownie before kick-off, before he went to do this duty pitch side. And the Former Players Association is something he's quite passionate about. Yeah,
very passionate about, and it's actually quite timely because in the news this week it's been reported that Manchester United are cutting their Former Players Association, which for a club like Manchester United is next to nothing. And I think there's a real complete lack of respect and disregard for former players. I think in football in general, they're almost cast as, someone plays for a year, then they get cast off, and I think some clubs don't treat those former players with the respect they perhaps deserve. And I mean, in the case of Charlton, you've got players, Brownie's era, who played Premier League and created some of the best memories of Charlton fans' lives, and yet some, and I'm not putting Brownie in this category at all, because he's a man that, although he doesn't know where his wallet is at times, it must be said, but there's players that can't afford everyday basics, and it's sad to hear that when you do hear. And Brownie speaks of former players who have really struggled financially and struggled, maybe not even financially, but even just, like Brownie's had 2 knee operations that he's had to spend money on. Like, the club should be covering that. And in my eyes, I feel that the Former Player Association is such a key cog to the Charlton wheel. You've got the Trust, which does some amazing things for the community and is fantastic with upbeats and various programs they've got going on. You've got the Academy, which looks after current and former Academy graduates and the healthcare there. But where Charlton have had poor ownership or ownership that has kind of disregarded our history, and I'm not talking about our current ownership, by the way, I'm talking about, you probably know who, but there's ownership there that has had a lack of thought for those who have gone before them. And what I've liked about this current ownership is they've looked to look after those former players, and they've tasked Brownie and Kevin Lisby with that. And there's various things that they're doing to improve it and raise money. There's an event in March people may have seen, the Players to Managers event with Chrissy Powell, Curbs, Jacko and Lee Bowie as well, which would be a fantastic event. There will be more tickets going on sale, so keep an eye out for that. And there's a nice presentation taking place for Sir Keith Peacock as well.
Yeah, down pitch side, Brian's just introducing Mr. Keith Peacock, who is a Sir in all but name, and the New Year's Honours list should reflect that, but it won't. And presenting is a cap, which is something that the Former Players Association under Steve Brown and Kevin Lisby has brought back. Brought into being, that every former player of note will get a memorial cap. And Alan Kirbishley and Peter Varney, who were obviously instrumental alongside Keith in our Premier League years, they're going to present Keith with his cap. And it looks fantastic, that cap. I want one. I've got no chance to get one. I want one anyway. So Keith Peacock, who is synonymous with Charlton, he was in the side. So Keith Peacock, and when I first came to the Valley in 1967, and has been an integral part of this club ever since, and even before. And it's good to see Keith getting that cap. now joined by Steve Brown and Gary Carter. Steve muscling in just so he can have his photo taken. Look at that. Shocking
He's
behaviour.
breathing in. He's had one too many mince pies, his old Brownie.
There are lots of... the word legend is bandied about, sometimes quite too freely. But Sir Keith Peacock is an absolute bona fide dyed-in-all legend here at Charlton, and actually in football generally. And he's putting the cap on, which is great to see, and I want that photo as well. Just a lovely little side story. As I said, my first ever game here at Charlton. Keith Peacock was one of the first players to come out on the pitch pre-match. So one of the first players I ever saw in a Charlton shirt was Keith Peacock. I brought my grandson to his first game. It was a pre-season game against Aston Villa. The first person he met by the Sam Bartram statue, Keith Peacock. And I mentioned it to him, and I mentioned it to my grandson. He took time to talk to him as well, and had his photo taken with my grandson, and it was just a hairs on the back of the neck moment, really. And it's fitting and great to see Keith Peacock receive his memorial cap.
Yeah, he's such a legend, Tel. I cannot describe to people who've never met him before that he's a very, very nice man, but what he's achieved in football for Charlton and across his whole career. I mean, he's done everything at Charlton, hasn't he? He's been caretaker manager, he's been assistant manager, he's been director of football, club legend, and an important person for the club as well. And I'm glad he's been one of the first to get one of those caps.
So, as you'd expect, Steve Brown isn't here, but he'll make his way up after this presentation and join us here in the commentary position. He should be here by half-time, shouldn't he? And take his place for the match. And fitting that Keith Peacock gets it, and I think you mentioned it earlier. It's a part of the organisation of the Former Players Association that sometimes goes a little unnoticed. Everybody sees former players around the ground, and they shake their hand and have photos taken, and it's lovely. But there's a human side to it. You know, those players that are former players didn't receive the riches that the current players are getting necessarily, and need to be looked after at times. And so something that Steve Brown has recognised, because he's been through a little bit himself, and good to see that he's at the forefront of that. And so support it if you can, please, because it's well worth doing. I ought to also say RIP to a former goalkeeper, Charlie Wright, who passed away sadly this week, who again was in that squad and side that I first started watching Charlton with. So that was sad to hear, and thoughts with his family and friends, Charlie Wright. But back to today. Hello, my word. Was that a sprint, Mr. Brown? I don't know if it's a sprint or a stumble. Steve Brown with Mandy alongside him, which is good to see. He's going to get his earphones on shortly, and we'll be able to talk to him. Steve Brown, and whether he have time to talk about today's game or not is another issue. He's not ready yet, is he?
No, he's still sort of, I've got to plug his wire in as per, because he can't get down that far.
Oh, no, well, yeah, are you all right, more importantly?
I mean, this is gripping radio for those at home.
Yeah, isn't it just? We are waiting for kick-off, by the way, and so I'll waffle briefly. We got the lineup, so I'll go through the two lineups, and I might actually wait now until the teams come out. The flag bearers are in front of the tunnel, and so we are waiting for the two sides to emerge below us. This, oh dear, I wish there was a camera up here. I really do, because this is. Greg said this is classic TV and radio. It actually could have been then. That car crash, I think, was the other word. But Charlton. I'll read you quickly through the lineup, so then we can talk about it. But it's Ashley Maynard brewing goal. Macaulay Gillespie, Alex Mitchell, Lloyd Jones, Connor Coventry, Therese Campbell, Luke Berry, Greg Doherty, the captain, Miles Leeburn, Josh Edwards and Thierry Small. It's basically, again, an unchanged side for the third game in a row. And the bench, again, is unchanged for the third game in a row. Yeah,
just on that, too, I think there is a slight risk with that in the respects of players like Luke Berry, we mentioned Leeburn already, haven't actually had a lot of 90 minutes matches across the season. So, you know, against Cambridge, we didn't make a change to, the 88th minute, so they're not going to be fresh. So Nathan Jones has put a lot of belief that this team will be ready. There's a lot of pressure on the sports scientists that we have available the off-pitch to make sure that they're ready to go for this game. And Wycombe themselves, have made changes. You know, with Kone, the top scorer, being on the bench is a surprise. Onyedinma has been excellent for them. So they've actually made changes. They've actually gone to their squad and tried to refresh and just give a little bit more time to those players. One of them coming in is Backinson, who was on loan here last season, so we'll know all about him. So it's an interesting lineup from Jones to continue with that side that has done well the last 2 games. It's just whether that fitness level can be at the highest possible.
Well, it remains to be seen, of course, and yeah, it has come as a bit of a surprise. Something that we can ask Brownie a little bit later about the Christmas period and playing an intense period of games in a relatively short period of time. So we'll we will talk to Steve Brown about that and how he coped. Well, feign an injury just beforehand, so he could have the time off. We'll ask that question. As the tunnel's extended, so the players are coming out onto the pitch. Away to our left-hand side, in front of you, obviously to the right. And as the players come out and head towards the halfway line, I'll read you out the 2 sides, starting with our visitors, Wycombe Wanderers. In goal for them, number 1, Franco Ravizoli. 2 and captain, Jack Grimmer. 3, Dan Harvey. 11, Dan Udo. 12, Gareth McCleary. 16, Tariq Backinson. 17, Joe Lowe. 20, Cameron Humphreys. 28, Aaron Morley. 30, Beryl Lubala. And 37, Caleb Taylor. The subs for Wycombe Wanderers, Shamal George, Josh Scowen, Alex Hartridge, Luke Leahy, Gideon Kodua, Richard Kone and Fred Onyedinma. Your Charlton side, in goal, number 21, Ashley Maynard Brewer. 3, Macaulay Gillespie. 4, Alex Mitchell. 5, Lloyd Jones. 6, Connor Coventry. 7, Therese Campbell. 8, Luke Berry. 10, the captain, Greg Doherty. 11, Miles Leeburn. 16, Josh Edwards. And 26, Thierry Small. Subs for Charlton, Will Mannion, Gaston Ahadmi, Danny Hilton, Karoy Anderson, Romani Edmonds-Green, Matty Godden and Alan Campbell. And I'm delighted now to be able to introduce Hall of Famer, Charlton legend, and not wearing a cap, but still here nonetheless, Mr. Steve Brown. Steve, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well. I'm waiting patiently for my cap. So I think I'll be at the back of a long queue, if I'm honest with you, and quite rightly, Mr. Keith Peacock, who is thoroughly deserving of that presentation that I've just been a part of on the pitch, receiving his heritage cap, and it was a privilege to be down there.
They look lovely. I want one.
I can arrange that, Tel. I'm in a position where I can arrange that for you, my friend.
Oh, dear. Yeah, and I'd wear it as well.
Yours won't have appearances on it. It'll
no, I get that.
Years service.
That sounds like it should be popped.
1942. Listen, I've got no idea what you guys have said building up.
I
so
asked for that.
Yeah, if I repeat anything that you've already said, I do apologise.
But we were basically stumbling over our words for Keith Peacock. There aren't enough actually to describe the legend that is Keith Peacock. Yeah, it's well deserved and well done, by the way, Steve and Kevin and everybody associated with the former Players Association. It was a wonderful thing to do and a wonderful thing to watch.
Yeah, in truth, Terry, if we're going to be really, really truthful about it, it's something we started that we wish we could rewind and start again, because it is very chaotic. It's very, very difficult to do. Tracing people and where they live and where they've found a life to continue is not easy to do. We've got players passing away, unfortunately, all the time.
Charlie Wright this week,
Charlie
sadly.
Wright this week. And we've had caps made for 1 or 2 that have passed away as well, and that will be passed on to their family. But in truth, Terry, if we had a bit more time and sat back and worked out exactly the logistics of the caps, we may do it slightly differently moving forward. It's very difficult to do and very costly, but the cost we will find a way to match, and with events like March the 2nd and the former player to manager events will hopefully raise enough for us to be able to continue to do so. But yeah, it's you've got 2 guys down there. Keith Peacock received today, but there is somebody as fitting, I believe, next to him in Alan Curbs, who presented him the cap, and we'll get round to Curbs one day.
Sadly, it's one of the evil categories in life is that you can't control is time, and more often than not, it catches you in the backside when you least expect it, or when you haven't prepared. And most people can't and don't, so it's not something you should be too worried about, Steve.
Yeah.
It'll be Charlton to get us underway, attacking the Jimmy Seed stand in the first half. It looks like it, or oh no, there's a change. You had Luke Berry over the ball, looking like it was going to kick off. The referees had to come to him and say, no, it's not. It's the other lot. And so Wycombe Wanderers will actually get us underway in their change strip of green and white vertical stripes and green shorts and white socks. Charlton traditional red shirts, white shorts and red and white socks, of course. And I'm going to ask you a little bit later on as the game gets underway here at the Valley about how you fared squeezing 5 games in 2 weeks over the Christmas period. But in the meantime, ball immediately sent down the Charlton left, goes out of play. So I've got time to ask you, Randy, about the load of 5 games in such a short period of time.
I've got to be honest with you, Terry. It's one of those conversations where you know players from my era will say it's not a problem. I have a feeling, and someone can text in and tell us, but I've got a feeling we played back-to-back games on 2 days. And I remember one of the games being Luton away, and I think we won 1-0. But you just got on with it. I don't think it's right, if I'm honest, that you load one period up with so many games. It's very difficult. You will pick up injuries, and I am surprised we saw no changes today. Actually, I'm sure you've dealt with that in the build-up, but I am surprised we've seen no changes off the back of that. And it's one of those ones where you look at Wycombe and they've made 3 or 4, and I would have expected us to make at least a couple.
Early free kick to Charlton as Lee Byrne was taken out, and he's back in possession now with the ball from Gillespie. Out to the right-hand side is Small. Small looking to take his man on, and 2 men now coming across to try and stop that from happening. Still though, Thierry Small with the ball, back to Mitchell. Mitchell inside to Connor Coventry, trying to lever it forward to Berry, who stayed onside. Wycombe were looking for it, but good defending in the end from Backinson to just shield him out of the way and guide the ball back to Rabizzoli.
Yeah, I thought as that came back to Mitchell, I thought cross was the initial thought. He took the touch, went inside, and the ball in behind to Berry was not bad actually, but that's good defending from Backinson. A lovely little nudge at the perfect time, unbalances Berry. Wycombe tidy up.
Taylor bringing it out of defence, goes left, and then the ball down the lines. We cut out by Mitchell, who sends it back towards Leeburn. Trying to control it, but just ran out of room on the touchline, and it's away for a Wycombe throw. It'll be Dan Harvey to take it. Just looking to see the way Wycombe is set up, and they normally set up with a back 4. And it does look like that might be the case, but with Grimmer on the right, and now Harvey on the left with the throw. He's just been told to stop by the referees, who seem to be sort of more hot on that in the last few weeks. Position of where players take the throw. Down the line it goes. Mitchell first to react and get his head to it. Back towards Harvey. His header inside's gone straight to Doherty, who tried to lift it over the top, asking Campbell to chase it, but it was just a little too much on the ball. And the 2 centre-halves of Wycombe just shielding Campbell out of the way to allow the ball through to Rabizzoli.
We spoke about that last week, actually. I don't know why Tyrese is away from the centre-halves, coming deep. You're the leading line at this point. You know, Lee Burns drop deep, play off the shoulder of the centre-halves, and that is for those moments, for the hook-ons in behind. You give yourself a great opportunity with your pace to get on it, but he was 3 yards short of their defence. They read it early. Easy take in the end for the Wycombe centre-halves.
Charlton, good football to avoid the Wycombe press. And it's currently with Gillespie on the left-hand side. He knocks it forward. I think he was looking for Berry, but there'll be too much on that. And it'll skip through off the Valley surface and to the hands of Rabizzoli again. He's seen quite a bit of the ball in the opening few minutes. 3 minutes gone. Still goalless here at the Valley as Taylor goes out to the right-hand side, and Grimmer. Down the line he goes. Still Grimmer. Just further right. That's a good foot in. Oh, that must have come off. That had to have come off the Wycombe man on that right-hand side. Assistant thought otherwise, but it was Edwards with the foot in, and it, for all the world, it looked like it came off the Wycombe man last. But they have the throw taken quickly into McCleary. Back now. Ball through the middle, and Wycombe release Udo into the centre. Back to McCleary. Cross is blocked away, and then Edwards with the clearance up to Campbell. Back to Edwards. Oh, left him a little bit to do, but he did well. Gets the ball upfield, and then again Leeburn being tussled to the ground, and then there's some afters there.
Yeah, that's going to lead to a bit of trouble, I think.
It was Joe Lowe with the swipe out to Leeburn while he was on the floor. Referee didn't see it, and he's allowing play to go on. The Wycombe man now down on the ground. I think that was Udo. Again, he says play on. Charlton have possession. It's on the left-hand side with Gillespie. Ball up to Campbell. Holds off Grimmer and then goes to ground. Referee again waves it away. I don't think there was anything in that. And Wycombe have it back. Ball forward up to Labala. Takes the shots over the bar and into the covered end.
Yeah. I think he'll take those opportunities when they come his way, Lubalu, but I don't mind the referee as long as he's consistent, and he was consistent there. I thought it was a foul on Liban, and I thought it was a foul on Udo, but he let both go, and I quite like that as well, because it actually sends a signal out to the teams. Just because you go to ground today, I'm not going to give a free kick. It's when they're inconsistent on the decisions, it's frustrating. But that just sends a signal out to everybody out there. You're not going to get a free kick just on contact and dive into the floor.
Leeburn jumping for the goal kick, gets something on it. Berry then out towards Campbell. Intercepted, but Berry back on it. Chests control back to Doherty. Gillespie now behind him, and into the centre is Jones. He's got Mitchell away to the right-hand side. Jones bringing it forward, and then sends it long, looking for Small on the right-hand side. Small can't get there. The header away by Harvey. And Connor Coventry then adjusts to a foul. Humphreys in the middle, and Wycombe will have a free kick.
Yeah. We're forced to go long at the moment. There is no option into midfield, just in that build-up play across our back line. Looking at Coventry, looking at Doherty, looking at Berry, all man-marked. Impossible to feed the ball into them, so we have to go long. If we're going to go long, like we did, which is a good 50, 60 yards there, you've got to position yourself for the knockdowns.
Leeburn looks to be operating on his own up front with two behind in Campbell and Berry. As Wycombe send it forward, Jones comes across, header away, picks out Edwards. Edwards brings it in field and then turns and goes back the other way to Gillespie. Gillespie goes down the line, but there's nobody there. It'll be easy to come out by Lowe, but he skies it straight into the Kirbishley stand. A great header coming in from the crowd there, actually. Gets the ball straight back. And they'll be able to with Edwards with the throw. Good firm header, like that. Met it on the full. He's probably going to have a sore head now. Whoever it was. He'll be feeding off that for years. That header. Throw towards Liban. Again, looked like he was being pulled back, but referee sees nothing in that. Cleared away. Good header from Gillespie. Charlton have it back. Jones being pressured, so it goes back to Maynard Brewer. Slight loose touch, but he's just about got the clearance away. And out towards Small. It's a good ball. Oh, Small just missed his kick. Berry had made the run ahead, and Small was looking to flick it onto him. He must have just taken his eyes off it. He's hit his standing leg and away for a throw-in.
Yeah, it's on his favoured foot as well. Just trying to hook it round the corner with that left instep. Completely missed it, hit his right knee and out for the throw-in. But yeah, I mean, these early stages, the game's still finding its feet. 7.5 minutes in, nothing really to write home about. I think in terms of the middle of the pitch, looks very, very congested. No sides dominating that at the moment. I think it will become a little bit more open as the minutes click down.
Wycombe play it back to Ravizoli and then play it back through the middle, but that's a good block coming in there from Doherty as Grimmer tried to release the ball forward, but it'll be a throw into Wycombe on halfway on the right-hand side. Still goalless here at the Valley with 8 minutes gone. Glimmer still not released the throw yet. Now he does, up towards Udo. Held up by Gillespie. Ball goes back into the centre. And they're back in the centre circle. To his left is Harvey. Sends it forward. Gillespie just about gets his head there. Looked like it might have evaded him at one point, but it's out to McCleary. He's bringing it forward. Glimmer on the overlap. McCleary sends it across the box. Too far for everybody. And Small allows that to go out of play for a goal kick. So quite a decent crowd in Wycombe. I thought Wycombe might actually sell the Jimmy Seed stand out, but they're doing quite well. It's not a million miles away, but I'd say there's 2,000 or so though.
Yeah, I mean, they're on a very good run of form in general. Their away form is exceptional. They're top of the league in away form and points gained. They've only lost one on the road this season, which is incredible, really, considering this is their 13th game away from home. Yeah, I don't know, festive period. You normally think, but you normally think it would swell, maybe, because people are off. But yeah, it's a generous splattering. But yeah, I think with the position that Wycombe are in, the form they're in, you'd have expected maybe a few more.
Goal kick goes away and headed away by Taylor. It'll be a Charlton throw on halfway on the left-hand side. Edwards with it up towards Leeburn. Gets something on it. Trying to get it to Campbell. Glimmer with the header. Campbell looking for it again. This time it'll drop to Doherty. Little touch to Mitchell. Didn't get as much on it as he wanted, but Mitchell does well to guide it across to Thierry Small. Look to attack down the right-hand side. Still Small. He's going to go past Harvey. Does try and get the cross in, but it's blocked away by Harvey. It'll be a throw into Charlton by the corner flag on the right-hand side.
Yeah, but what that does with our wing-back in possession, firing down the right in Thierry Small, it drags Udo back. And the more we can drag Udo back, the better it is for us. But it means that Smalls always seems to be a 2v1 against. So he needs a bit of support quickly. You know, he's either got to get his crossing really quick or he's got to wait for a bit of support, which needs to come quicker than it did there.
Small has left the ball for Edwards to throw this long into the penalty area. Wycombe have left 2 up. Charlton therefore having to keep men back as Edwards prepares to take this throw in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Headed away, only as far as Berry, who gets the shot away. Blocked, and Berry again. This time it goes just wide. Well, I say just wide, it comfortably wide in the end, but 2 good efforts from Berry. The first block, the second one just screwed wide.
Yeah. So you'll hear us talking about first contact, second contact, etc. Wycombe win first contact. It's so important you position yourself in the 18-yard box for any kind of knockdown, whether we get first contact or Wycombe do. Berry was in a great position. First volley blocked, that was probably going to hit the target. Second one, the old classic drag right across the body with the right foot and out for a goal kick. But I like the way that we sort of at least surrounded where the flight of the ball landed and positioned ourselves well enough to get the seconds.
Referee wants Leeburn to be outside the area, which he thinks he is. Referee thinks otherwise, so he's just gone an extra couple of centimetres as we can send the ball long. Udo with the flick on. Mitchell gets his head to it, but it's straight back to Udo. Little back heel to Harvey. Down the line, though, straight to Gillespie. Gillespie just avoids Udo and then gets the ball down the line, but straight to Harvey again. Tip forward to Udo, but that's intercepted by Berry. And Charlton convinced it's come off a Wycombe man. Wycombe convinced it didn't, and I think Charlton called first, so they get it.
they were not sure. Referee had no idea.
Well, neither of them.
Assistant was just went on Nathan Jones's call actually.
Oh, and there's a throw coming in, and Coventry waited for it. Humphreys stepped in beforehand. Coventry swinging boot connects with Humphreys. It'll be a free kick. It's an inadvertent one. He didn't know he was there.
Yeah, it's actually a poor throw, and Alex Mitchell holds his hands up to Conor Coventry and apologises. Far too much air on it. It was just a simple throw to be volleyed down the line, but it just had too much air, allowed Humphreys to nick in front.
It's about 20 yards inside the Charlton half on the left-hand side. Coming across is Morley to take it. It's got Harvey close by, but we suspect this is going to go into the box. Backinson just joining the mass ranks of Wycombe players. It's a low ball out to the left-hand corner. Udo sprints across to get there, and then his ball back inside. Campbell should pick that off and does for Charlton. Into Berry, who's immediately tackled and fouled by Backinson, who gets his shot away, but the referee had already blown for a free kick, which may be a touch generous, I think, but it was a question of did Berry actually just run into Backinson, but yeah. Charlton have a free kick.
Well, he had no idea he was there for a start. He turned into him, and that tells me he didn't have the awareness to know that Backinson was stood there. I think he's had fortunate to get away with that one, and that would have presented Backinson with a great opportunity to get a decent shot away.
Well, he did. It was comfortable for Maynard Brewer in the end. Whether or not he pulled his foot back after he heard the whistle, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Liebman can't get to the header, but it drops Gillespie's way. Lifts the ball looking for Campbell, headed away by Glimmer, picked up by Berry. Back out to Campbell. On the left-hand side, goes past Glimmer into the penalty area, drags it back, Berry with a touch, but straight to the keeper with a goal at his mercy.
Yeah, should be 1-0. That's brilliant work from Campbell. I've been talking about him attacking players, driving them into the penalty area. He's covered off quite well by Grimmer on the first touch, and it's the second touch that takes Grimmer out the game. He drives to the byline on the second touch, which opens up a crossing opportunity. He gets the ball into Berry, and it's a poor contact, any kind of good contact, and Charlton are 1-0 up.
Well, I think I might just call him Glimmer by mistake. Mr. Grimmer, my apologies. As Charlton send the ball forward after the goal kick from Wycombe went straight through to Maynard Brewer. Gillespie with a touch left to Edwards. Edwards sends it long, again looking for Campbell. This time that's too long, and Lowe will head it away. Gets it back from Grimmer. He'll receive it once more. The Wycombe captain, he's got space to run into as well on that right-hand side. Grimmer over halfway. Ball down the line for McCleary. Taking on Edwards. McCleary gets the cross in as well. Mitchell meets it and heads it away towards the edge of the box, and Gillespie completes the clearance. Leeburn coming back, tries to head it into the path of Campbell, picked off by Lowe. Wycombe have it back on the left-hand side with Harvey. Inside the centre circle is Backinson, who gives it back to the left-back. Now to this left-hand side, and Lubala goes all the way back to Taylor inside the Wycombe half. Bringing it forward, Taylor. Now to his left is Humphreys. Cuts inside Coventry, who drags him to the floor, and Wycombe will have a free kick just inside their own half.
That's a couple of times Connor Coventry has committed fouls on Humphreys, and I'm surprised he hasn't given the referee a little bit of a verbal saying, come on mate, that's 2 or 3 now. But I just want to go back to Tyrese Campbell there. He shut down the centre half Lowe, and Lowe played it out to Grimmer, and Grimmer had 50 yards to run in, and I think Tyrese has got to give that up, let Lowe and Taylor have possession, and make sure that Grimmer can't get forward like he did previously, because it's 60 yards of space he's got to run into, and that puts pressure on our back 5.
And Grimmer has just sent the ball down that left-hand side, looking for McCleary. Good defending by Edwards to just usher him out of play for a goal kick. But there was a case in point, I think, as Berry made the rush forward from a more deeper position to try and cut off that ball instead of Campbell. So Campbell could take Grimmer at...
This is the first sign of an issue. So Miles Leeburn is working between the 2 centre-halves, Lowe and Taylor, and they're 2 young lads. They're both a decent size. They both look like they want to play and drive out with the ball. And Miles is having to cover off both, which is why you're trying to see either Tyrese Campbell pressurise or Luke Berry pressurise. The problem you have is that when they do, it leaves Grimmer free.
Well, when Leeburn did it then, he was supported by Berry, and between the 2 of them, they managed to put pressure on Ravizoli. Skied his kick out, and it's away for a Charlton throw. So it sort of worked then.
It did, but if Ravizoli finds Grimmer, he's got 60 yards of space to run into again. So it's a risk and reward move. But the downside to Miles doing all that work is we've just seen Jones play from the edge of our 18-yard box up to Miles, and he couldn't make a run because he's doing so much work in between the 2 centre-halves.
Well, the referee's just penalised Berry for a foul, I think, on Humphreys. And nobody's quite sure why. He got to the ball, Berry, and headed it backwards to keep Charlton in possession. The referee's given a free kick against the Charlton player, Berry, and not entirely sure why. As we can take the free kick into McCleary. It's good work from Doherty to win the ball back for Charlton, and it's now Campbell on the left-hand side. McCleary coming back to trying to tone. Campbell goes back to Edwards, and it's back and inside to Gillespie. 17 minutes gone here at the Valley, still goalless as Lloyd Jones receives the ball on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Sends it forward, looking for the run of Berry. Should be comfortable. Oh no, it's a good jump from Berry to put pressure on Taylor. Wycombe, though, do have possession. And it's with Morley out to Grimmer on the right-hand side. This time he does have Campbell in front of him, so he goes inside to McCleary. Morley once more. Fortuitously gets it across to Backinson, and now it's Harvey out to the left-hand side now. Lubala ball into the box, looking for the run of Humphreys. It's good defending by Mitchell, and it looked like a handball there, but referee either didn't see it, was maybe blind side of him. Leeburn trying to flick it on, doesn't work, and Backinson will send it forward, but straight through to Ashley Maynard-Brewer. Just waiting for the options he's got in front of him, and one of those is Jones. Out to Mitchell now on the right. Sends the ball forward, but the angle of that release is not correct. Goes straight down the plate for a Wycombe throw. It's just to the left edge of the Charlton dugout, or the right edges as you look, and it will be Harvey with it. Still Harvey waiting to take this throw. Now does throw it into Morley, gets it back. Harvey being pursued by Doherty to the extent that he loses possession. It's a good clearance from Mitchell up to Leeburn. Coventry takes it over and out to Campbell. Let's take on Grimmer. Campbell goes for the long shot. You could see what he was trying. The keeper, Ravizoli, was off his line, but he didn't catch it right, and it's away for a goal kick.
Yeah, amazing how quickly Lowe, the right-sided centre-half of Wycombe, doubled up with Grimmer. I don't think they're fancying him to win that individual battle as a right-back against Tyrese Campbell. And as Campbell cut inside on that right foot, you're absolutely right, Tel. Ravizoli was a good 8 yards off his line, and the shot was on. But technically, Tyrese just got that all wrong. But a good turnover, excellent ball from Coventry to find Campbell's feet. I think we've got to get him in attacking opportunities 1v1 with Grimmer as many times as we possibly can.
Wycombe take the goal kick short. He's back with Rabazzoli, who now sends it out to Grimmer on the right-hand side. Doherty this time coming across. Ball down the line to Morley. Little one inside to McCleary, and McCleary's got Morley on the overlap. Gillespie coming across, but Edwards does really well to get back in front of Morley, who pushes him over. Not happy with the decision, but it looked clear from here. Charlton have a free kick.
Yeah, but another example of when Campbell goes to pressurise the centre-half, you're running the risk if the ball finds Grimmer, which it did. One of your central midfielders has to go and pressurise the ball. In this case, it was Doherty, and that leaves the centre of the pitch wide open. And I think Nathan Jones will be very, very keen to avoid that situation that we just found ourselves in. You might have to forfeit here and allow one of the centre-halves to drive out if that continues.
Which did really well to get back on time for that, as Burr sends the free kick forward. Liban with the flick, but there's nobody close enough to benefit from that flick, and it will run through to Rabazzoli. Remains goalless here at the Valley after 20 minutes. Very shortly I'll be handing you over to Greg Stubley. So at the moment the ball's out towards Grimmer on the right hand side. A little touch inside to McCleary, and he's touched it past Gillespie. Edwards does again really well to get back, and this time I didn't think it was quite as clear-cut, the free kick on Edwards. I thought he was already on his way down before McCleary got there. Sorry, not McCleary, it's Udo out there. But Charlton had the free kick anyway, almost in an identical position as the last one, 10 yards away from the corner flag, and it's a good opportunity to now hand you, after a little word from Steve Brown, to hand you over to Greg Stubley to lead commentate for the rest of this first half.
Yeah, I thought we were very fortunate to get that free kick, but what I will say is we're just seeing the first signs. We've done very, very well for the first 21 minutes of this game. We've caused Wycombe a couple of problems. We've had the best opportunity with Berry's shot from Campbell's good wing play, but we're just starting to see the signs of Wycombe's formation and style of play open us up a little bit, particularly down their right-hand side, our left. And I just wonder if there's little bits of information that the staff can get out to the team to stop that. Now, Campbell pushing on to Lowe, for me, is a bit of an issue.
Well, thank you, Tel. Thank you, Brownie. After 22 minutes, it's Charlton 0, Wycombe 0. Charlton with the best chance of the match so far. Luke Barry should have scored after 13 minutes when he was set up by Tyrese Campbell in the penalty area. He's still goalless, and he's Low, the centre half of Wycombe, out to Taylor. Look for the ball forward. Mitchell should cut that out and does so. His header forward is back towards Taylor again, up towards Udo, and Mitchell gets a touch to the ball. Mitchell will have more defending to do, which he does, up towards Berry. The ball down is over the head of Doherty, and it'll be picked up by Lubala on the Wycombe left-hand side. Challenge comes in from Doherty, and then the ball forward has been blocked off by Small, and again Charlton with a loose ball out, blocked this time by Mitchell.
Yeah, even if Berry controls that, he's under enormous pressure. I'm not sure where he can go, but that is one of the issues when Wycombe are on top in your half. You know, we've got to try and find Miles Leaburn to feet, or we've got to try and find Campbell over the top on the diagonal over the back of Grimmer. I think that's your two options when you look forward.
Backinson just using the ball just to turn, and back to Lowe. Driven ball forward towards Udo. Comes up Jones, and it's good hold-up play from the Wycombe strikers. Backinson will look for the diagonal ball out towards McCleary. Edwards spots that and heads it away. McCleary first to the dropping ball, looks to turn Coventry. And Edwards into Doherty. Campbell with a layoff, but it's beyond Coventry, and Wycombe will have the throw.
Yeah, Tyrese Campbell saying that was Grimmer passing that out of play, which would make sense because it wasn't a particularly difficult pass, and we actually manoeuvred ourselves into a wonderful little triangle to pass that around and then advance forward.
Throw from Grimmer goes back to Morley, who goes back to the right back, cut out by Campbell, and Wycombe will have the throw. As Morley goes backwards to Lowe, across to Taylor, who can bring the ball forward, being tracked well by Liban, but Taylor will still run with the ball, and beyond Mitchell as well on the left-hand side, Caleb Taylor. And looking to take it past Small, and Ian brings him down. It's a brilliant run from the centre-half, run from West Brom.
Yeah, I mean, they've taken a bit of a risk, Wycombe, in terms of you've got a 22-year-old and a 21-year-old playing centre-halves, but they are both very, very good sizes. And Lowe, who's coming up to join Taylor now from the back, has scored 4 this season, so he's a threat at set pieces. I'd imagine they both are there, but I mean, Taylor, who's just gone to ground, looks about 6'6", to be brutally frank. Lowe not far off that. So a real threat here from this set piece wide on the left.
Caleb takes time alone at Bolton before And Cheltenham before that. His dad's Martin Taylor. He used to play for Birmingham City. Might have crossed paths with you at some point, perhaps. Harvey with the free kick towards the far post. Leeburn wins the header, heads it away. Out to McCleary. Ball down the line to Backinson. Back to McCleary. Right-footed cross is blocked by Doherty in the end, but it will be a corner.
Yeah, we defended the first one particularly. I think the ball was probably not in the area they were looking to put it in from a Wycombe perspective, but Miles Leeburn defended it well, and we've defended that cross well. It's good to see. I like to see defenders try, at least make a block, if not get as tight as they can to make the block. But it does offer Wycombe another opportunity. It looks like a bus stop type set piece, 4 in a vertical line on the penalty spot.
Harvey to take. Charlton with everyone back in the penalty area, but Coventry's there for the short corner. It does end up being a short corner, but Harvey's going to swing it in, and it's a decent looking delivery and well won by Lloyd Jones and headed further forward by Campbell. As Coventry will give chase as the ball goes all the way back to Ravazoli in the Wycombe goal. And diagonal has been flicked on by Harvey. Gillespie had to be alert and does well to clear it away, but Wycombe just increasing the pressure on the Charlton defence.
Yeah, and they're dealing with it well at the moment. I think that was a good covering position from Gillespie. Sometimes centre-half switch off and don't anticipate a flick on from the opposition and therefore lose ground. But he anticipated nice and early, got across, made the clearance. But yeah, this is increased pressure from Wycombe, but at the moment keeping them at bay.
Oh, he gives the ball back to Grimmer. Comes inside Tyrese Campbell, but there's Edwards to clear it away. Low with the ball down towards Morley, does well to keep it in. Wycombe will start at the back through Taylor. Balls across to Ravazoli, who's just stepped outside his penalty area, but 10 yards away from it. And look for the long ball forward. McCleary the target again. Wins the first header, and Gillespie can only clear it up in the air against Udo. He's backing into the Charlton defender. Does well to stay with him. Edwards will let this run out of play for a Charlton throw.
Yeah, we're just going a little bit too deep as a back line when Ravazoli gets possession of the ball. That's twice now that the ball's fallen short and they've won the first ball flicking on, and it's just purely because our back line's starting about 10 yards too deep. And to be fair, it's decent distribution from Ravazoli. He's leaving it short, which makes them favourite. Centre half can't make a 10-yard run to get in front, but maybe just bring that line up a tad if he can.
Doherty with the ball back to Maynard Brewer, clears away. Leeburn the target. Leeburn touches down to Coventry, out to the right hand side of Small. Again, Labala comes back to double up alongside Harvey against Small. Goes on the outside of Harvey and beats him. Thierry Small will keep it in play. Small with the right footed cross and just over hit. Leeburn the target. It was a decent effort. Let's try and find him. Charlton restarted with Edwards. Forward to Campbell. Campbell back to Coventry.
Got to take that on the back foot. Got to take that back on the back foot and turn on the touch. Big opportunity missed from Tyrese Campbell.
Jones with the ball forward, headed away by Backinson. Touchdown by Coventry, and Small gets there, and Mitchell has to run it away for Charlton. As Doherty back to Gillespie. Ball inside looking for Campbell. Just ushers Grimmer off the ball fairly, according to the referee. Ball down the line from low. It's blocked by Campbell. Clear of the header inside. Coventry first there for Charlton, but Grimmer look to clear. Coventry does well to block that. It's all scrappy, and Wycombe just coming away with the ball, but Charlton still competing. He's Backinson with the ball forward towards Udo. Again, gets to the ball ahead of Jones and looks to lay it off, and Jones just catches the Wycombe striker.
Yeah, listen, you know I'm a big fan of that. Not fouling people and injuring people, sorry. I just cleared that up. But centre halves on top of centre forwards near the halfway line. It's important. You send out a little message that, you know, you're not having an easy day here, pal, particularly when you receive possession here. So I don't mind that from Jones, as long as he gets away with a booking, which he has. Great, double bonus. But I just want to go back to that attack from Small. You know, you're going to need moments where an individual beats the opponent, and the delivery on his weaker side, the right foot, is a good one. We just didn't quite match it with the running inside the penalty area. If anything, a slight mistake was that the ball was delivered backwards. But it's on his weaker side. I thought that was good from Small down this right-hand side.
Wycombe with the free kick, Morley to take. Floats it in towards the edge of the penalty area. Coventry does well to read it and heads it away, only as far as Labala. There's Harvey on the outside. Humphreys takes a good position up, and he cuts inside Humphreys, and Doherty with an important challenge And Doherty bring the ball forward. No real options to target Greg Doherty. And he still does really well, Doherty, in the end, just to hold the ball up, and goes back to Maynard Brewer, to Gillespie. Forward to Edwards. Edwards look for the run of Leeburn. Ball forward. Leeburn gets something to it, up against Lowe. Leeburn backing into the centre half, and the ball forward as well, covered by Backinson. Heads it back to Ravizoli.
That's good play all round, really. In terms of where Humphreys was, he's a dangerous player. 4 goals, 6 assists this season. We know he can, once he gets in the penalty box, he's tricky. And I thought we tidied that up well. Not particularly how we defended it. There was a slip in there, but Doherty's position to come across and tidy it up was superb. Miles feeding off scraps a little bit in this game. It's tough for him, physically working between 2 players and feeding off balls up to him, fighting centre halves all the time. It's a tough game for Miles.
Bury the ball forward to Doherty, who's just pushed over by Morley. And Charlton will have a free kick. It's a bit soft by Aaron Morley, on loan from Bolton. Alex will have free kick, and it will invite Jones and Gillespie and Mitchell up from the back.
Yeah, and you've got to take these moments. You know, Wycombe have just started to get on top. I think we said about 22nd minute in, they started to see a bit more of the ball, particularly down the right-hand side. Take your moments, set the set piece up, get the delivery spot on.
It'll be Berry to take. Charlton have got Jones, Mitchell and Gillespie towards the right-hand side of the edge of the penalty area. Mitchell's just wandered into the edge of the penalty area as Jones and Gillespie potential targets for this free kick as Berry floats it in, looks for Gillespie at the far post. Gillespie does get there, and it wasn't a bad delivery, just Gillespie couldn't quite get on the end of it. It gets something to there. That ball in from Berry, but
Yeah, it was in between, wasn't it? You either need Gillespie attacking on the inside shoulder Backinson, and I think that is an opportunity. I think Gillespie against Backinson is a win for us. I think that's an opportunity for us to maybe win that first contact, but the ball was either too short or Gillespie left his run too late, but it just fell in between in a horrible little zone that we couldn't do anything with.
Harvey the ball forward. Coventry first to it for Charlton. Ball inside towards Gillespie, whose clearance comes off of Doherty. Does well to control. Back to Macaulay Gillespie. Edwards ball down the line to Campbell. Holding up the ball against Grimmer, who's done superbly well. Tyrese Campbell has just been dumped to the floor by the Wycombe right back.
I'd be all over the ref if I was a player there. I'd want Grimmer booked, because I know that's a big battle for us that we're winning. You get Tyrese into this game, Grimmer's not handling particularly well as an individual. I'd want him booked for that.
Small looking to go on the outside of Harvey. It's great pace from Thierry Small. Small in the penalty area. Low driven cross has to be cleared away by Lowe. Again, Thierry Small getting the better of Harvey. Applause from the Charlton fans for that effort.
Yeah. Oh, Small's gone down. I don't know what that is, but he's gone down. I don't know if it's oh, he's holding his face like he's got a clip in the eye, like a little flick of a finger in the eye or something. What you don't want to see there is someone grabbing their hamstring or their knee. Yeah, it's a little arm across the eye. Yeah. Okay, he'll be okay. But we're penetrating in wide areas. I think Small is certainly got the beating of Harvey physically on the outside, and they're doubling up on the inside, so he has to drive on the outside, but he's got the beating of Harvey in that front, and I think Campbell's got Grimmer physically, for pace down the outside, cutting on the inside, and he can hold him off with hold-up play, so we're certainly looking good in those forward wide areas.
Berry to take the corner. Decent looking delivery. Lloyd Jones wins the first header, and Tyrese Campbell just flicks it on. Well, the referee's given a corner.
Yeah,
I think that came off the Charlton striker last.
It's a goal kick, and Tyrese, it's a great first header from Lloyd Jones back into a very, very dangerous area. It just needs a slight flick, a deft touch to either side, maybe down to the goalkeeper's right would have been the deft touch needed, but it got far too much purchase on it, Campbell, and I agree. I think that's a goal kick.
Yeah, his corner was given. Berry to take again. Mitchell just is pushed off the ball just before the delivery comes in, so the referee wants a little word. I think it was Lowe next to Alex Mitchell. No, it's not Lowe, I think it's Morley. The corner. Ball in from Berry, he was looking for Tyrese Campbell towards the near post. Charlton couldn't disguise that.
I mean, that one
in
was...
the end, Wycombe clear it away.
That one was sent by pigeon carrier. Saw that coming, didn't they?
Edwards across to Coventry. Now Gillespie. Diagonal ball towards the penalty area. Mitchell's there. Mitchell gets something to it, but Lieberman couldn't get on the end of it.
Oh, that looks a little bit like a wayward arm to me. We'll have to see a replay, but there was certainly an arm high there from the Wycombe defender. Whether it made any contact or not would have to be deemed by a replay, but no shouts from any Charlton player.
Zoli with a ball forward towards Udo.
We're way too deep.
Jones does well to win it in the end.
Yeah, we're so deep when Ravazoli's got the ball. I mean, he shouldn't be able to ping a ball into the front players like that. I mean, that's gone 70 yards.
Grimmer to take the throw. Morley to turn, and down to the left-hand side is Harvey. Ball further left to Labala. To take on Mitchell, gets beyond Mitchell as well, Labala. On the outside of Alex Mitchell, who does well to come back. I mean, there was a tug of the shorts, which I don't think was spotted, but nonetheless, the goal kick's given, and the referee is having a word with Labala, who's come over feeling that it should have been a free kick. And I think if he saw the angle we saw, I think he might have agreed.
Yeah, but I like Alex Mitchell's recovery on that, because he had a little go, and I'm not faulting him actually. He thought he was going to get a toe on the ball, and Lubalu did ever so well just to knock it past him. He recovered well. But yeah, I liked Lubalu's reaction. Didn't try and go for Mitchell, didn't want to make a scene of it, but had a word with the referee instead.
Barry looks to take the free kick quickly, and Backinson was blocking it. It should be a yellow card for Tyreek Backinson, and it is.
Yeah, pointless, absolutely pointless. Don't know why he's done that.
He was questioning the foul in the first place, which
Immaterial.
Stationary.
Yeah, immaterial really. Question of the free, just don't block the pass. You're in the book now, and tenterhooks. You can't miss time of challenge, can't do anything wrong now for the next 60 minutes.
Jones with the ball forward. Lieberman gets something to it towards Campbell. Campbell holding off Lowe, who's pulling his shirt. No free kick given.
Yeah.
And Wycombe will play on as Harvey can bring the ball forward. On the left is Labala. Labala against Mitchell. Ball inside will find Morley. Good challenge from Doherty. Ball up towards Udo, and Morley's there again. On the left-hand side, Labala. Held up by Coventry. Ball inside. We'll find Morley on the turn. Aaron Morley with the shot. Well watched by Ashley Maynard-Brewer, and gathers and holds on.
To be honest with you, of all the midfielders and forwards you want in possession to have a shot, it's Morley. To be honest, he's the least productive in that department. Their front four, I think it's scored 14 and assisted 13, and they've left their top scorer on the bench. So Morley's not up there in goals or assists.
Lieberman trying to bring the ball forward, and his path was blocked by Harvey. Well, you say that about Aaron Morley. He has scored a worldie here at the Valley before when he was at Bolton. So we know he has it.
Greg. He scored one goal in 378 games. Just happened to be here.
And a screamer. A
Screamer.
Should
have blocked it if I remember rightly.
Comes down to Berry. Small gets the ball back, and in the end runs out of room. Wycombe will have the throw.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to tempt fate here. You two will have a go at me because you're fans, but we have defended ever so well in terms of this is a very potent side. Their away record's excellent. They're in a wonderful form, and this is a very good out of possession performance from Charlton. I sort of addressed the issues they have when Wycombe are building up, but when Wycombe are in our half, very, very limited in what they've been able to do. So up to this point, it's a big pat on the back.
Well, 15,544 here at the Valley today. Wycombe have just bought shy of 1,500. Charlton with the throw. Coventry with the ball forward up towards Campbell. Berry. Again, Campbell the target, headed away twice by Lowen, and Harvey volleys it away. It's awkward for Gillespie, who just gets something to the ball. Wasn't clean, but in the end was effective enough, and Jones will clear it forward up towards Lieberman, who is coming back from an offside position, so Wycombe will have the free kick. Yeah,
he's been caught like that a couple of times today, and I mentioned it earlier. Where he's doing doggies between the two centre halves and dropping in. When we've played the ball forward and it's fallen into midfield or into our back line, Miles has struggled to get back onside a couple of times. So it's physically a big test for him.
Wycombe the free kick. We played 39.5 minutes, still 0-0 here at the Valley. Cold, misty Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I forgot it was Sunday.
Yeah, quite a lot of people said that.
Yeah.
Ravazoli with the free kick towards Udo, headed away by Gillespie. Berry heads it on. Campbell trying to get there, but Parkinson will go all the way back to Ravazoli to start again.
I'd leave this. I wouldn't even bother pressurising that. If that was Miles, I'd just let him have it.
Ravazoli goes long. Clearing the targets over his head, and Gillespie will just let this run out of play, and Charlton will have the goal kick. In the first 40 minutes, I think Nathan Jones will definitely be the happier of the two coaches. Charlton have had the best chance of the game. They should be 1-0 up. There hasn't been a lot of chances in it.
That's the only chance, the only realistic chance. You know, we've had huffs and puffs, but that is the only realistic chance, and it was a great chance. Super wide play from Campbell, and Berry just with the poor contact. He took up a great position, just couldn't get the right contact.
Mitchell the ball forward. Campbell the target. Grimmer wins the header. Edwards competing against McCleary, and Edwards wins that battle as the ball comes down to Coventry. He's off balance and can only put the ball out of the plate. So Wycombe will have the throw.
Yeah, you do look at their bench and think, you know, as this game hits the latter stages, and your Dibmer, Cone, Leahy, you know, all scored, all got assists, very dangerous players. It's got strength in depth in terms of across that front line.
Ball forward by Edwards out of play, and Wycombe will have the throw again inside their half. Lowe, who's just got the consequences of a slight knock there with Leeburn.
Yeah, I did say right early in the game there was a tussle, big tussle, and Miles has got a little bit of fire in his belly, can get quite feisty when he's manhandled in the first 5-10 minutes, and I thought there's going to be something come of that. And I think he's intelligent enough, Miles, not to do it immediately. You might see it in about the 65th, 70th minute, but I'm sure he's going to get him back at some point.
Going with the throw, it's over the head of Gillespie. Udo tries to flick it beyond Jones, who chests it out of play.
You're having a little set to now, actually, a little verbal. As you follow the ball, you just watch them two having a little verbal to each other. So I like those battles. I do like probably a bit of miss.
And those are the words of Steve Brown, not a Crane. As Grimmer will take the throw. Moves towards Udo. Jones gets the touch of the ball, and Edwards up towards Leeburn, holding off that man low. He's done well, Miles Leeburn. Can he find a Charlton shirt? He's turned into a bit of a cul-de-sac. Still with it, Leeburn. He's got 4 for company. The ball will work its way eventually to Tyrese Campbell. Keeps it in play. Challenge from low. And Charlton will have the throw.
Yeah, was under enough pressure that he couldn't get his head up, Miles, to find a pass, but he's done exceptionally well to manage to squeeze that ball out to Tyrese Campbell, and he's done well. I'm very surprised how strong Tyrese Campbell is physically, upper body-wise. He's holding off people far larger, far more physical than he is. Showing good strength today.
Edwards of the throw. Leeburn heads it inside towards Berry. Can't control it, and cleared away by Morley. Thierry Small. That's a neat ball inside to Gillespie. Look for Doherty. The ball's just slightly too wide of him, and Grimmer will intercept.
Straight out to Campbell. That should have been Bosch on the half volley. Straight to Tyrese Campbell. We had a lovely wide position facing Grimmer.
Jones of the ball up towards Leeburn. Touch. Leeburn tries to lay it off to Doherty.
Yeah.
How to play again for a Wycombe throw.
Yeah, you've got Berry breaking on the inside channel but covered off. You've got Doherty breaking on the outside channel, covered off. And it would have been a very, very good ball for Miles to find Doherty. But that's the issue he has. He's lone striker, you know, finding that support, taking a touch, holding off a centre half, finding the player in support quickly. It's a difficult thing today.
Grimmer to take the throws. We've played 44 minutes, still 0-0. Backinson will give Grimmer the ball back, and Backinson's got space. Looks to loft the ball in the penalty area. Mitchell calls for it. It's a good header away. Morley back towards that penalty area, which Jones will clear it away. Leeburn can't hold up the ball, and Wycombe will knock on the Charlton door again as Lowe in the centre circle. Out to the right-hand side is McCleary. Potentially look to take on Edwards. McCleary back inside and will stay and find Morley. Goes back to Lowe. Forward to Backinson, and now Morley. He's got space to bring this ball forward. No, will do so. Wycombe centre half still on a run. Campbell gets a touch of the ball and wins it back for the Addicts. Campbell looks to switch the play across towards Leeburn, but Harvey's there. And
he has, I'm telling you, when we see the replay of this, he has caught him with a forearm right across the cheekbone. He would have felt that. Harvey, the left back for Wycombe. But interesting, we allowed the centre half to drive and he drove into trouble, gave it away. Looked down thinking, right, they're a man short defensively. They had 5 behind the ball. And that's how unsure they are of themselves in this first 45 minutes, because we've limited them to very few opportunities.
Harvey's back to his feet. An apology from Miles Leeburn. He did catch him with his hand in the end.
I wasn't saying it was intent, but he is definitely, because he leant down to head it, and straight into the forearm, I think.
One added minute. We've already played 30 seconds or so with that. So potentially see another 30 with Harvey down on the floor just before. There's ball forward from Ravizoli's, headed forward by Coventry. Ball out wide by Lowe. Harvey will give chase and ball down the line. Jones will call for it. That's a good header away. Ball stays in play and Small clears it forward. Leeburn will give chase, but Lowe.
Yeah, you've got to try and hit. It's really difficult, but you have got to try and hit Miles to chest or midriff and try and allow him to control it.
Well, there is the half-time whistle after 45 minutes. It's Charlton 0, Wycombe 0.5. That hasn't had a lot of chances. Charlton had the best of them, though. Luke Berry seeing his shot from close range, comfortably saved by Ravizoli when he should have really scored after brilliant work from Tyrese Campbell on the left-hand side. Wycombe's best opportunities have been largely optimistic ones. Nabala had a shot from range over the bar. Morley's optimistic effort was comfortably saved by Ashley Maynard-Brewer. For a side that's been free scoring, they found breaking down the Charlton defence difficult, Brownie.
Yeah, well, 0.03 XG for anybody who's interested in that statistic, which tells you they've barely troubled Ashley Maynard-Brewer in any way, shape or form, which means defensively we are looking solid as a rock, but we are only halfway through. It's how we conjure up opportunities. We've had the one, as you say. I do think we've looked quite dangerous down either flank, but few and far between on those attacks. So it's a very, very tight game. We've had slightly the better of it because we've had that opportunity with Berry, who really will be disappointed that he hasn't got a solid contact on that shot, because if he had, I don't think Ravizoli would have had much reaction time and we could have found ourselves 1-0 up. But all in all, against a team that's having a very good season, I think it's fair to say, particularly away from home. Their numbers away from home are superb. Their goals and assists across the front line are superb. And 0.03 XG tells its own story.
Yeah, we've got to acknowledge that fact that they have made changes, Wycombe, and obviously you only play what you're up against, but Wycombe do have the likes of Kone, who has 14 goals this season in all competitions, 21-year-old striker, probably going to be much attraction in January for a lot of clubs for potentially looking for a new striker. Onyedinma, a summer signing from Luton, who played in the Premier League last year, one that didn't make its way to the Valley here, but someone who has had a really good season so far. Leahy, a bit more defensive, but good for set pieces, and his goal tally represents that, as well as penalties I think he takes as well. So they do have options on the bench. Charlton themselves, likes of Matty Godden, Ghassan Ahadmi, who's come off the bench a lot. Could be a bit of an interesting, shall we say, second half in store. Yeah,
I think we mentioned it in the first 45 minutes about the strength in depth they have. I think when I was doing my stats for this game, the last setup that Wycombe had, where they won comfortably, I think there was 27 goals and 12 assists across the front five. They set up 4-1, 4-1, and across the front five was 27 goals and 11, 12, 13 assists, something like that off the top of my head. And you look at that and you think, it's a team in very, very good form. I think we've done a very, very good containing job today. It's whether you want to go and risk trying to get a goal here, because we haven't been too adventurous ourselves, such as the job that we've done containing. We found it difficult to produce ourselves, but it's led for a very tight game, and we are playing a team that's in the top three and pushing. So it's just how much Nathan wants to risk. Because the minute you risk against this team, they will play through. Without, they've shown that in spells that they've got the ability to play into midfield and into wide areas. They've got a good side in that respect, but they've found it difficult in their final third. They've not been able to create anything. And I think that's just purely because of our setup, Greg. But I anticipate changes for them relatively quickly, 15 minutes or so, and I think you'll see a couple of changes if the second half takes on the same pattern as the first.
Well, myself and Brownie go for a short break, but before we do, just before Christmas, the club relaunched the schools partnership. Let's take a look at this little video we've got for you.
Men's first team players Kane Ramsey and Tane Watson visited James Walker Primary School in Greenwich last week for the launch of the club's schools partnership scheme. 39 schools across the borough of Greenwich have already signed up for the scheme, which gives schools access to men's and women's first team player appearances and the opportunity to take part in an annual schools partnership tournament at the Valley. The partnership gives local school children access to discounted tickets, with every penny from each ticket sold being given back to their school at the end of the football season.
It's fantastic having the opportunity for children to come and meet players, also to have discounted tickets come to the Valley and see the team play. I think for us it's a big inspiration for young children to see those professionals that have worked hard to get to where they are in the game, and then to think about what they might want to do in the future, but also to see that even if they're not footballers, what it takes to, it's not just all the glamour of being a footballer. There's obviously hard work that goes in, there's setbacks to deal with, and then to be able to do that and do that in the local area is absolutely fantastic, so the children have really benefited from it.
Through the partnership already, more than 1,300 school children have signed up as junior addicts. As part of their membership, each child will receive a Charlton water bottle with their name on it and a Charlton keyring and information pack.
It's lovely, man. It's nice to just see like the kids enjoying themselves and interacting. And I think you can see in their eyes, you know, like when they see someone who's professional. I remember being in that position. It means a lot to them, and I think it's nice for us to be able to give something back. So
the schools are always in the borough, are always trying to invest in sport, and us as a school, we're always investing in making sure that children have as many opportunities as possible for competitive sport as well. And so to have money coming back into the school to be able to improve our sports provision and build a resource here so that children benefit from sporting opportunities, to have that from our local professional football club is fantastic. Like, not many places across the country, I don't think, have that opportunity.
Not even just supporters, I think for some of them enjoy football, they could end up being football players. And if me and Tane's influence them today to go and maybe work with that 1% harder, 2% harder, or go home or tell a friend, it's just important. And if they do come down to support us, I feel like right now we need all the support. And the louder and the more fans we have, the better it is to continue trying to play.
I was saying earlier, sometimes we take things for granted, you know, what we have access to, what we can do. And I think these kids just like remind, even, you know, us as players, like we're so blessed to be in this position. So yeah, got the show for them and everyone that comes down, so yeah.
Am I being negative? Bloody brilliant.
Negativity holds you back.
Well, welcome back to Charlton TV. We're at half-time here. It is Charlton 0, Wycombe 0. And we've just shown you the highlights of the Charlton Wycombe first half, which was a half that went by quite quickly, I thought, but not a lot of chances within it. We've already spoken about the Wycombe lack of attack, but let's talk about the best chance of the game, which fell to Luke Berry, which should have been scored.
I think so. I thought it was excellent wing play from Tyrese Campbell. I love the little second touch. Grim had him covered off, and he gambled. The cross was coming in, and it was a lovely second touch towards the byline, which then allowed him to push that ball into the corner of the 6-yard box for Berry. And it was just poor contact, simple as that. And he'll be disappointed, because in these tight games, when they're as tight as that, it's that one little moment that can make all the difference. So he'll be disappointed, Luke Berry, because, you know, he's pushed into the right area, he's supported the attack really well, and just hasn't made the contact required to give us the lead in what was a very, very tight first 45 minutes. But hopefully we get, you know, 1 or 2 more opportunities as the game goes on.
Well, certainly so. And, I mean, yeah, the bright spark for me, and I think there's been a real difference between us in the last week or so compared to before. We do have that attack of Tyrese Campbell, and even someone like Thierry Small, he had that pace.
Yeah.
So I always feel in a game when it's a bit like this, it can just take that little bit of a spark. And we've seen a couple of times Thierry Small getting on the outside of Daniel Harvey, as an example that we're seeing on the screen now, where all it takes is that ball across and someone getting on the end of it and Charlton 1-0 up. And we saw with Tyrese Campbell creating that chance for Luke Berry that is something that Charlton do have up their sleeve.
Yeah, and we haven't been blessed this season with pace up front or pace in wide areas particularly. It's generally come from deeper areas where the pace has come from with wing backs, but it's nice to see Small advanced, and it's nice that he's got the confidence to drive on the outside onto his weaker foot, and actually some of the deliveries he's putting on that weaker foot have been pretty good. The hardest bit in football, Greg, to be honest with you, is getting yourself into an area where that delivery is going to come, because there's no hard and fast rule when a wide player's building up play where he's going to put that cross. It's down to the striker or midfielder attacking to adopt, based on what he's seeing develop, what area he's got to pick to try and anticipate where that ball's going to drop so we can get the finish. But the timing and the arrival of and the quality of the finish, you know, is difficult to do. That's why we don't see an abundance of goals week in, week out. You get the odd anomaly where you get your Tottenham-Liverpool with a 6-3, but more often than not, you see 20 attacks in a game and only 1 or 2 will link up for the goal, and that's why, because it's very, very difficult to anticipate. But on that occasion, we did anticipate and we took up the right area. We just couldn't get the finish. But I like the fact that we've got the option of Tyrese Campbell either on the last defender over the top or out wide attacking a fullback. And I think what they've done in the last few weeks is pick on the weaker fullback in the opposition to the fullback we want you to attack. But yeah, I think that's something that needs to be addressed and looked at during January. You'd love to be able to have 2 front players, right and left. You know, we had it in Blackett